Dr. Ruffin, is there anything that you would like to include on the silent prayer hour?
Just keep in remembrance all of our families, our students, our staff, the entire Waterbury community, as we continue to struggle with the COVID.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is our Pledge of Allegiance. I'll start it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
we
it stands,
stand,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is public speaking. And is there anybody on the line for speaking tonight?
No, sir.
Okie dokie. Two quick things. Our newest board member, Commissioner Amanda Devon. Is that how I pronounce your last name?
That is.
Well, welcome. Say hello to
Thank
the
you.
gang. Amanda's
Hi, everybody.
joining us. She just got sworn in this afternoon.
Welcome.
We wish you
Welcome.
luck, and we will look forward to your contributions on helping us steer the ship. So thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We also have a student representative on the line, I believe, Tenley DeSalines. Are you there? I take it not yet.
Not yet, sir.
Okay. Okay, our first agenda item is Committee on Finance. It's a request for approval to apply for the Connecticut State Department of Education 2020 Carl D. Perkins Grant. And we're going to need a consensus on this also tonight. And who's presenting? I don't see Louise. Is this Darren? Are you doing it, Darren?
Oh, yeah. I'm
Okay.
here, and so is Mike Marotti.
Okay, hi, Mike.
Hi, good evening, President, Vice President, Board of Education, and Superintendent Ruffin. Tonight, before you is the Perkins Grant. I'm happy to say that with the addition of Mike now overseeing CTE, we've taken a different approach for the applying for the CTE grant. In the past, there was less structure around pathways. As you know, we've worked hard at establishing pathways, as you see in the backup, what those pathways are and where they're located. And the Perkins Grant helps supplies, specifically supplies for the pathways. Really excited for adding those supplies in, such as virtual business software, EMT equipment, and the like. Many of you are familiar with the teaching and training pathway as well, where we have over 300 students this year enrolled. And so this Perkins grant of $483,835 helps support that. Just as a background, these pathways and the Perkins grant funds are dedicated based on labor market data, and we look at high wage, high demand jobs to ensure that we're aligning our pathways and our Perkins monies to those high wage, high demand jobs, and collaboration with the council and the workforce investment boards. And so we're happy to answer any questions tonight about the Perkins grant.
Any questions, anyone? Commissioner Van Stone?
Thank you, Mr. President, through you. We have to nod our head for a consensus. Once again, why is it coming to us so late that is the case? Anyone?
I can't answer that. Darren?
I mean, the application is due on the 11th, and so I think we're still in the time frame from when we received the grant for the application.
You are, but it's not coming to us in time to vote at a meeting. We're here at a workshop, and we need a consensus. And we bring up all the time that these things come to us at a point that I mean, we're not going to contradict the Perkins grant, obviously. However, Dr. Ruffin, here we are again. Maybe Will is really the person to answer to this, but here we are again, you know, gun to our head. Not to be too dramatic, but we got to stop bringing these things where we really don't have time to review. That's my only point. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Duly noted. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I do want to offer a comment that as we're moving forward with some of the grants, the Carl Perkins grant in particular, but other grants as well, and we're maneuvering and really digging deep into all of the grants that we have and all the monies that we have to strategically spend it wisely. There are times, Commissioner, we're just going to have the time to delve in it, and it might not come in at a time that would have November. We could not have been prepared for this in November, given the strategic involvement of having to put this together in such a way that it would be useful to us in Waterbury and not duplicate services and not run into other grants that we sometimes receive and other monies that we receive that we have to make certain we're examining, can we fund this somewhere else and not fund it here? So again, I apologize for the lateness of it. It is coming in to the board before the actual due date, but certainly not in time for the actual meeting. And I do want to say that there are times, especially in this year, that could happen again. Because when we receive monies, there are some things we can purchase with it. There are some things that are not allocated and we have to shift things around. And we do that very carefully and thoughtfully instead of just rushing it through. And we could not have provided that in November at this time.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you, please, again.
Surely.
Thank you, Dr. Ruffin, for the explanation. And actually, the board probably should take a little bit of this because this was certainly potentially going to happen when we made the decision to cut back on our meetings as opposed to weekly to every other week. So a little bit of this could also be on us. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I
Any other
need
comments?
the envelope with the address.
Hold on, did someone say something? I didn't see any hands. Doreen, you're smiling. That must have been you. Any other comments? Do we take a roll call vote, Carrie, or should we just do a,
Oh,
I can't hear you.
No, just everybody smile or something.
Okay, nod your head.
That's fine.
Okay, yay. Everybody seems to be in agreement, so your consensus moves forward. Thank you, everyone. Item number 2 on our agenda tonight. Again, Committee on Finance requests approval for a professional services agreement with Sue Vivian for consultant services under the School Readiness Quality Enhancement Grant. Again, Mr. Schwartz, the floor is yours.
Hi, good evening again. With me tonight is Mary Sue Hinks, who is our school readiness liaison. She's doing an excellent job in her coming in during COVID and managing an already difficult to navigate early childhood situation, but especially more difficult now with COVID. And we've received this grant from the state to Commissioner Vanstone's point. We received this very late, and I believe it was late October when they finally got this out to us, but I'll let Mary Sue confirm that. And this grant, as many of you know, as it comes to you every year, helps support our school readiness classrooms, not just in the Waterbury public schools, but also in the city. And so this is based on the School Readiness Council taking a deep dive, looking at what our school readiness programs need. The School Readiness Council approved these areas for the school readiness funding to be allocated to, and that would be to continue with the pyramid training. As many of you know, that's that tiered approach to student behavior and learning. But also we bumped up this year the Easter Seals BCBA report, support for that behavioral support in our programming. Part of that money is also, a good chunk of that money is also going to PPE support for our programs. Some of our smaller programs have had especially hard time with the reduction in students coming to be able to afford PPE. So this grant will allow them to continue to have that support. And I'm here to answer any question, and so is Mary still.
Any questions for Darren or Mary? Hello, Liz, you have the floor.
Hi, Darren, I see there's several workshops and, you know, I think Sue has done a great job with the school readiness program. With COVID, do we have a guarantee for how many teachers will be participating in these workshops? Because I see there are 6 half-day trainings and so forth. Will there be a number that they will have to participate in order to make this viable? Because you don't want one person attending a workshop. So how are we doing that with COVID?
Yeah, we've talked to, and I'll let Mary Sue jump in if she has anything to add, but anyone that's receiving the training obviously has agreed to also be available virtually for that training. Depending, we have to be fluid with this situation. And so some of the programs are in right now, some of them are out.
Right.
But it's not a one-person training. The Sue Vivian training, as you know, is about a whole staff going through cohorts. And so, yeah, the commitment from the sites were that you have to be available through virtual training. And if Mary Sue, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the case?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. All right, good. Because I know it's going to be difficult, but hopefully we'll keep moving forward because I know the trainings have been very productive. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Darren and Mary Sue? I don't see anybody waving their hands. So, Darren, you have agenda number 3 also?
Yep, that's connected to the same
You
grant.
did connect it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, both to Darren and Mary Sue. Thanks. Our next agenda item is a 4-chapter dissertation from Kathy Gabrielson. So why don't you do all 4 and then we'll do all the questions and answers when you're done.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much,
Thank you
President
very much.
Pagano, Vice President Harvey, and Commissioners,
Hello.
Dr. Ruffin. The first item, number 4, is for an amendment to our existing contract with Ed Advance. We have an additional student attending the program, so we need to request additional funds to cover that tuition. The similar situation in item number 5 is we've had an increase of students at Oak Hill, one of which was simply a transfer from another out-of-district placement. And so we're looking to increase that contract as well. The next 2 are both no-cost items. The first number 6 is for school counseling internships from Southern Connecticut State University to work under our current school counselors and earn the credits that they need for their degrees. And number 7 is for another transition services contract with Brass City Charter School here in Waterbury for our students in the 18 to 22 population who are looking to acquire work skills.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments on those 4 agenda items from anyone? I don't see anybody looking for it. So, Kathy, thank you very much. Nicely efficient.
Very welcome.
Kathy.
Thank you very
Next agenda item is number 8. Request approval of a student affiliation agreement with Central Connecticut State University for student teaching opportunities. Juan Mendoza, your name's attached to that. You have the floor.
Good evening, President Pagano, Vice President Harvey, Commissioners, and Superintendent Dr. Ruffin. I am requesting approval of a student-teacher contract with Central Connecticut State University. This is a 3-year contract with the option to extend for an additional 3 years at no cost to the city or to the Board of Education. Cooperating teachers do earn a stipend for their work. However, this is paid for by the university. We currently have 10 student teachers assigned to our district this fall, and we already have secured 13 more student teachers to develop in our district in the spring. Mentoring student teachers is essential to the recruitment process and to our district's grow your own efforts. These contracts make this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. We like that phrase, no cost. You get our attention on that. Any questions or comments on the no cost clause? I don't see anybody waving their, oh, Liz?
I do, yeah. No, just a quick observation. So one, this is a new partnership with these colleges.
Yes, they are.
Great job. We've been hoping for this, so I'm thrilled that we have this pipeline going. Great job. Thank you to everyone who made this possible.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Juan. Anybody else have a question? Karen, are you waving your hand?
Yes, I am.
Then you have the floor.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Hi, Juan. Just a quick question. Are we pursuing this? Are we the ones pursuing these, or
Yes,
are they coming to us?
No, we're contacting the universities trying to get contracts with them. Yes. We're
All right.
pursuing
All right. So are we going for the local? Like
them. We're doing
Central's
local.
in
We're also
Britain?
doing national through the Shake app. We contacted the universities through that too.
Good. And you got Eastern Connecticut and you got WestCon. So are we going there?
I believe we already have West. I don't think we have EastCon yet.
Okay.
Well, but we plan to contact them. Yes.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Juan. Good job.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Mendoza, thank you very much. Our next agenda item is number 9. Again, Will Clark and Will Zuda are requesting approval of the new one-on-one device program policy, number 6141-.3291. Will Clark, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Cavallaro. Good evening to you, Vice President Harvey, Dr. Ruffin, and everyone, all the commissioners. This is a policy update and really is just the global policy related to our one-to-one device program. As you've heard from Dr. Ruffin previously and from Will and myself about our efforts to go to one-to-one, this essentially just updates our computer policy to reflect that. Underneath this policy and sort of reference therein is some of the additional work that's done by the tech committee internally with respect to some of the protocols and programs and agreements that we try to put in place associated with the device distribution to both students and staff. Will and I are both here and happy to talk at more length if you'd like about our distribution efforts that continue. But essentially, this is the global policy that says the district is, in fact, a one-to-one district.
Thank you, sir. Anyone have any questions or comments for the two gentlemen? Oh, I don't see anybody wagging their tail. So, gents, thank you very much, both you and Mr. Zuda.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is the use of school facilities by outside organizations or waiver requests. Mr. Clark, you have the floor one more time.
Thank you, sir. We just have a couple here. These are actually for some requests that are optimistic requests in 2021, hoping we're back in school and back in place, but it's really placeholders for PAL. And their program, as you all know, we work closely with them in the community programs that they run that benefit our students. And this is essentially for them to run some programs utilizing some gym space and school space. They are all specifically to begin after the Martin Luther King holiday, assuming our return and assuming successful return of the students and our approval of after school programming. Sergeant Bissett and the folks at PAL are working collaboratively with us and will delay if delays are needed. They have had successful programs over the summer, both in our facilities but also in their facilities, and follow all the COVID guidelines associated with their programming and would follow any additional guidelines that were put in place by the state health department, state of Connecticut, or our local health department. But essentially, these these are really placeholders for their programming to run once we're back in place.
Okay, anybody have questions or comments?
Question.
Commissioner
Commissioner
Liz Brown?
Pagano? Yep.
Yep.
Hi, Will, I just had a question in terms of, looking forward to, when these organizations can get back in the schools. I know there's the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, some after-school programs, are they aware that there might be opportunity to use our buildings again? Or is this just how is that going to work with the other organizations who usually do try to access our students and use our buildings?
Short answer is yes. Sandy McCaslin and I work with folks who put in permit requests, and we talk to them about those. Obviously, ones who are engaged in our programmatic efforts, Linda Riddick Barron and others work with them. So some of those that are actually in our schools and are working directly with our programming, 21st Century, et cetera, aren't really permit required. They're more considered school programs, but we are working with all of our usual suspects.
Okay.
We've obviously have a little bit of moratorium, if you will, on the permits for now while we're closed down and the state regulations are in place. It's really curtailed most significantly the community use of the basketball programs and things like that thus far. So as we come back, hopefully, and we come off of this this surge or peak, if you will, we are hopeful that we'll be back to you with some requests. Unfortunately, many of the requests that traditionally would hit just either don't have the capacity to handle all the regulations and requirements. It just doesn't make sense to violate the bubble that's been created in the schools, and just the numbers of their programming. If they don't have the numbers, they can't justify the costs and for themselves. So all of those things combined for a lot of folks backing away and not being able to do the programming themselves, or just as a practical matter, it doesn't work right now. So I think, hopefully light at the end of the tunnel here as we get back and do our planning for return to school, and hopefully have extended day programming and after school programming. You'll see more of these come back on the agenda, I hope, probably January, February, as things hopefully get better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Liz. Any other questions or comments? I don't see anything shaking in front of me, so thanks, everyone. Before we move on to the superintendent's update, I would just like to invite Amanda, our newest commissioner, Devon, or I should be calling you Dr. Devon, because you have your doctorate from Walden University, as I remember, and you got your PSYD there. Is that correct?
PhD.
Okay. And you also did your Master of Philosophy. So why don't you just say hi to people, let them know what you're all about and what you do in your full-time job, and just as a little introduction.
Okay. On my full-time job, I am a sergeant for Naugatuck Police Department. I oversee our youth and special investigations, which I have been a part of that unit since 2010. I started in law enforcement in 2001 and as a patrolman, and got promoted to detective and went into special investigations in youth division, and had been working with sex crimes and youth for a long time, and then took the sergeant's exam, got promoted, and went to the midnight shift, and then wound up back in as a supervisor. So I have a lot of experience with our Board of Ed in Naugatuck and our youth programs in the borough, and I sit on our youth services board of directors for the town of Naugatuck. I also am part of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Waterbury, their board of directors. What else? I've been part of the Connecticut Public Broadcasting at part of their community advisory board since 2017. I'm a big fan of Connecticut Public Broadcasting and their programs that they reach out to our youth, especially here in Connecticut. Other than that, I started developing a love of mental health when I started interviewing victims of sexual assault, and kind of didn't know what I was seeing. in victims. So I started taking some classes and realized that I had a love of mental health. So I pursued my education and wound up finishing with a doctoral degree. So here I am, all these years later. So
Excellent. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank
And
you.
we will exercise those abilities behind the scenes with you because this group is unique. So thank you and welcome aboard. We're
you.
excited to have you with us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My second comment before we get on to Dr. Ruffin's update. Will, I would love to see you hold the Rottweiler the way that you were holding that French poodle. You got my attention with that. All right, I'm done talking. Agenda item 11, the superintendent's update. Dr. Ruffin.
Thank you, Commissioner. And good evening, commissioners, and welcome, Commissioner Devine. Look forward to having an opportunity to speak with you at your convenience.
Thank you.
Tonight, I have a few updates for the board. One, of course, on the forefront is our COVID update. As all of you know, beginning November 17th, our schools went to full virtual, and we continue to monitor the COVID-19 rates for the city, and with great expectations that after the holidays and after Dr. Martin Luther King Day, that we will resume our in-person as well as virtual learning. And also, if there is a vaccine, we would anticipate looking forward to increasing the number of in-person students after the January start. In the meantime, we continue to move our students forward in the virtual world and to connect with our students virtually and to continue the same schedule that we had, the only difference being that it's all virtual at this time. If any of you were on our board meeting before it actually began at 5:30, the artwork that you were looking at was the artwork that was produced by our Wallace Middle School students in the Academic Academy. And we want to thank the teacher, Corinne Zarek, who is instrumental in assuring that the students continue to do amazing artwork. If we did not have the names of the students and we did not have the actual place that these were created, one might think that those were professionally done. And they are. Our students are doing a very professional job at creating art and doing so in a virtual world. So I want to thank everyone for either looking at them if you happen to have seen them on the screen. I have another presentation for you in a short moment about some other updates for the district. But that's our COVID update. Will Clark and I typically will attend the city's department head meeting. We always attend those, one of us or both of us, and today both of us were there. So we were able to receive an update on the status of the city and the increase in COVID-19 positives. And we also know that we are seeing an increase in the COVID-19 positives because we have more testing available. It's a quick result that is being implemented. And while more people are testing, more people that are testing are also testing positive, and it's reflective in the numbers. So it's not solely there's an increase in the COVID-19, which there are, but there's an increase because there's also an increase in testing available for the city. And we're pleased that Waterbury has taken on that proactive approach, making certain that we had testing available for the people that live here. As we look towards the future, I would expect that we start talking and planning, which we already have, about what happens for our students as we move forward, returning partially in person and then eventually full-time or more students in person, and how we're going to make certain that our students who may need additional assistance will be provided with such an opportunity. And so it is highly likely that as we continue to receive either grants or we redistribute the money that we already have allocated for that purpose, that we will come to the board and indicate how some of this money will be spent to assure that our students who need additional time, whether it's a tutor, whether it's an additional mentorship, whether it's additional work with their current teacher, what that might look like post-January and including the summer. We've also distributed a snow days policy, and actually it's a procedure more than it is a policy. And so the snow days procedures will have indicated to our staff, and it's publicized for everyone to see how we're going to be responding to our students as well as to our staff when we have inclement weather days. And essentially, we are going to continue to have instruction. We will have virtual instruction, and based on the various union representations and various scenarios for a 10-month employee or a 12-month employee, all of our employees now know where and how they're expected to respond in the event of an inclement weather day. And in some instances will be taken on a case-by-case basis, at which time both human resource and human capital departments will be involved in assisting our employees with the right decision for themselves, as well as their immediate supervisor. So technically, our snow days, we have no snow days. One of the benefits, I think, for that is we can plan ahead to designate when our actual graduation dates are going to be, and not feel that we have to change those based on making up days at the end of the year. So I think that gives us a level of stability, knowing that we can plan ahead with some degree of certainty. That will conclude my updates for the purposes of COVID-19 and our snow days, but I'd like to show you a very brief presentation, and I think Sujatha has that, of some highlights that we have for our district. Definitely the great artwork that you saw. This is only a snapshot of the amazing work that our students are doing in multiple schools. And so I hope to be able to present those at each meeting so you could see some of the work that's happening in our artwork, as well as in community service, as well as in academics, and all of the activities that our students are participating in. And here you're going to see that we have North End Middle School with Feel Good Fridays. And you can see that before we transitioned to complete virtual, North End Middle School implemented a Feel Good Friday, where teachers are given an inspirational phrase in the morning as a token of appreciation. And these are some of the examples of the visuals that phrases and gifts that our teachers have received. And you could see that on the screen here. We're very pleased that the teachers need uplifting too. And our students, I think, feel uplifted when they're able to share in helping each other through this very challenging time. Waterbury Career Academy, Andrew Petro, last month attended a roundtable discussion with the U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal to discuss strategies on how to increase and expand job opportunities in Connecticut's workforce. And Andrew had some excellent strategies and ideas to be able to share with the senator. Westside Middle School Warrior Awards. In October, the teachers began nominating students for the Warrior Awards, and the award recognized students for demonstrating the Westside Way, which is working hard, showing responsibility, maintaining respect, demonstrating initiative and motivation, being kind and helpful to others. Students received an award, certificate, a wristband, and they have their names displayed on the Student of the Month Warrior Award bulletin board. And we look forward to seeing those in person again, but in the meantime, we'll continue to see those virtually. Some of our magnet schools have started the application process or will be starting or have ended. So I'd like to share that with everyone. Waterbury Career Academy is now accepting applications for the 2021-22 school year for the 8th graders. So our current 8th grade students and parents need to be aware of this. For students that reside and attend our Waterbury Public Schools, the application deadline is Friday, December 11th at midnight. Early College High School is accepting student applications for the 2021-22 school year. The application deadline is Sunday, January 10th at midnight. We also have for our other magnet schools, application processes that people should be looking for in January, and that will be for the Academic Academy, for Maloney Magnet, and for Rotella Magnet schools. Waterbury Arts Magnet Schools application process actually ended in November on the 25th. And as a last bit of information, our locations for grab and go meals are located here. I'm certain that they're going to be available after our board meeting for everyone to see, where we continue to provide meals, breakfast and lunch and snacks for our students, and families can pick them up at the following locations. We continue to provide meals for our students, and we anticipate continuing that throughout this year. This concludes the presentation that I have for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. Any questions? Karen, Vice President Karen Harvey, are you waving your hand?
Yeah, I'm trying to, yeah, I turned on my, I unmuted myself. So if I may, President Pagano?
You have the floor, madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. I love the artwork. I'm secretly a fan of artwork. I was going to major in art in college, but I took on business. But anyway, just a few questions. The issue of the, and this may be, you know, if you don't have an answer for this, I'm sure you probably don't, but I'm just figure I'd throw it out there. With the not the flu shot, but the shots that they're anticipating that it will be made available in now in this month and next year. Do you anticipate that we would, you know, not require, I hate to use that, but will on the return, will we ask our students and families to take advantage of those shots, getting those shots?
Commissioner, at this time, we do not have any further information. As we are following up every single day whenever there are updates. We understand that the first administration of those shots are going to be earmarked for specific professions, and that's what we know at this time. And we have not been informed yet when they will become available for other groups other than those first responder groups. As we learn more, we will share those with everyone, and we will keep everyone abreast as to when and if they become available, and what are the options, and what are the requirements and updates, and how we would be able to administer them once we get to that point.
Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. Any other questions, comments?
I just have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Amanda.
How is the online learning going as far as engagement with the students overall?
I think now, Commissioner, what we have is we have more involvement and more engagement and connection with our students and children than we've ever had, in terms of knowing when our students will actually log on with their live teachers, because we require the in-person learning as well. So although they are at home, they're connecting with their teachers in real time. And therefore, we can tell when there's actual involvement that way. We believe that it far exceeds where we ever were last year, March, April, May, and June, in terms of connectivity and involvement and turning in assignments for their on the part of the students, and receiving feedback on the part of their teachers.
We're less likely to lose some of these kids in the long run then.
I, along with everyone else, am concerned that the longer we stay only in virtual, the more that jeopardizes our connectivity with the real engagement. Yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
All right, President Gunn, I have one other question. This is Commissioner Harvey. All right. Dr. Ruffin, where do we stand with the distribution of the Chromebooks to our students?
As I reported last month, Commissioner, we have 1-to-1 in Waterbury Public Schools, which means that every single student who needed a computer and requested one through their school has one. We truly 1-to-1 means every student has a computer, along with the staff member who's delivering instruction or delivering some supportive instruction. And so we're truly a one-to-one district. The pre-K students, we are defining what does that look like in real time, because obviously because of the age group, and because we certainly do not expect that our pre-K students are going to be in front of a computer for 4 hours or longer a day. Defining what that looks like, and connecting with their families so that we can make that a quality program. That's an ongoing process, but we are a one-to-one district.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, President.
Thank you
Pagano.
both. Any other questions or comments? I don't see anyone moving. I'm going to move along to the next agenda item, the superintendent's notification to the board. You will see Dr. Ruffin's notes delineated on the agenda. Dr. Ruffin, do you want to add anything to that line item?
Not at this time, Commissioner.
Okay. We are going to have an executive session tonight. So Commissioner Ann Sweeney, can you do your magic that you normally do to get us out of what I'm doing into a virtual world of executive session?
You got it, sir. Motion to convene an executive session for discussion concerning the appointment, employment, performance evaluation, health, or dismissal of a public officer or employee.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going into executive session. Thank you.
Mr. Pagano, who's going to the
Thank you, and we're back out of executive session. Commissioner Ann Sweeney, you have the honors.
Motion to return from executive session to the regular order of business. No votes were taken.
Second.
Discussion, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? We are back in regular session. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
You guys want to discuss it?
No.
No? All right, beautiful. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Amanda, thank you for sticking it out.
My pleasure.
You
night.
you may have an opportunity for a second dissertation here. Guys, have a good weekend, okay?
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Take care, all.
Bye.
Good night.